Welcome everybody to the Learning Pro Live. My name's Cath Ellis, and this is my daily or weekly vlog to talk about my life as an instructional designer. And I've been inviting very special guests to talk about different subjects. Today, I've got a kick-ass guest. Her name is Amanda Nguyen, and we're going to be talking about creating interactive PDFs. So, guys, before you do anything, put in your comments, tell me where you're tuning in from, and if you've got some questions for Amanda. So without further ado, let me introduce her. Hello, Amanda.
Hello. How's it going?
Really good, really good. We've got James saying hey.
Hey, James.
And I've just been basically doing a quick overview what we're talking about today, which is interactive PDFs.
Yes.
And I know that this is a real art, and you've been working with interactive PDFs for a while in InDesign.
Yeah, I am an absolute PDF geek. I'm an InDesign geek as well. I just love PDFs. I don't care what people say. I think they're amazing. It's multi-purpose. And I can't wait to share with you and you know, our audience what I've done so far to inspire people.
Before we get into it, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Amanda. I'm a massive learning geek as well. I currently work for Lendlease as a learning solutions lead. So what I'm doing now is looking at solving different problems within the organization to craft digital learning experiences. So that's my specialty, is within the digital space. See, this is what happens when I'm live. I just word fart. That's what I'm currently doing right now. So I've been in learning for about 10 years or so, working in different industries ranging from tech startups through to not-for-profit and construction. So it's been a fun journey so far. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say that since I've met Amanda, I saw Amanda posted a few things last year, little bits from Lendlease that she did. Yeah. And it was pure quality, Amanda. It was awesome. I loved it. So I was so excited when you applied to be on the show and got right through to the final, and just your work is absolutely primo, mate. It's awesome.
Oh, thanks, Kat.
And you're in Sydney?
I am in Sydney, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sydney, Melbourne. And how's the weather in Sydney right now?
So it was pretty cold over the weekend. I actually went out probably 2 hours south from Sydney to camp in the snows with my family.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if it was a good or a bad idea, but we got caught in a snowstorm halfway through the night at like 3 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Tents were like mangled when we woke up. We were like snowed in, but it was really fun. It was nice. So it was snowing over the weekend. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we've got a couple of guests. We've got an international individual, Ashanti, who was on one of the previous shows, who's an absolutely lovely darling from Georgia. So she says hi. And we've got the gorgeous Tom McDowell, who's saying hello as well. Forever Learning Geeks.
That's it. It's the hashtag that we started, Tom and I. We're
That's
trending.
right. So, you know, we're going to kick off in a minute. If you guys have any questions, you know, I'm sure that your minds are going to start going, you know, to the point of explosions when Amanda starts showing you, you know, or talking through her tips and tricks. But, you know, pop them in the comments. Let us know kind of what's piquing your interest, what you want to know more about. There was I'll tell you something, Amanda.
Yeah, go for it.
It was probably about 2010 that I saw a load of tutorials from a chap called Jason Renshaw, and he was doing some interactive PDFs for a TAFE out in Geelong. And I fell in love with what you could do with PDFs. Like he was using them as curriculum tools, and he was also using them. So he was using them in collaboration with Moodle, where the students could literally complete. They could fill them out, save them, and upload them into the Moodle as an assessment.
Yeah.
And he was doing them for students of all different levels. They looked beautiful the way he was branding them up. And I think he was doing them as well for English as second language, which was really interesting as well. So I have gone down a rabbit hole over the years looking at interactive PDFs, and I can't wait to see some of yours. So what are you going to talk about today?
Yeah, well, I think I'll show you guys a couple of my projects that I've done at Lendlease with interactive guides and PDFs. So for me, how I use interactive PDFs is more on toolkits and toolboxes that we need to develop for our audience. I did a mentoring guide, which I'll show you, so it's quite interactive. But when I talk about interactive PDFs, it's just more than fillable boxes. I've added in some drop-down boxes. You can toggle some images, toggle some boxes to show and hide information. So it's really cool. Really intuitive, and it's all done through InDesign. I'll also take you guys through a hack as well. If you don't have InDesign and you're not really comfortable with that, you can use Illustrator and create a beautiful A4 page. Export it out into your Adobe Creative Acrobat DC and just add in the fillable boxes. So yeah, it's quite quick.
Magic. So if you want to share your screen, just down at the bottom of the screen there is a little button, just like Zoom, you could say. So it just says share screen, and it will show you. It will give you the option of what to share.
Perfect. Can you see my screen?
I can. Let me just bring it in.
Whoa, Inception. Got it?
Inception. That's right.
Oh, can you see it now?
I can.
Awesome. Okay, great. Yep, Inception. My bad. All right. Cool. So I'll probably talk you guys through this project and toolkit that I've created. I actually designed this 2 years ago when I first started Lendlease. It was my first project. To give you some context, we had a 5-day sales workshop looking at how to manage time more effectively for our sales managers and our customer service reps. The guys were sitting in a class, classroom-based setting for 5 days, learning about tools. They didn't get a chance to experience it or, experiment with the tools given to them. So what I did was I looked at that 5-day program and I actually chunked it down into this interactive toolkit, plus a small bite-sized RISE course that I have on my portfolio that you guys can check out. But what I did was just really added in some navigations. An introduction, you can go back, you can go forward. But this is, for me, the space of where it's quite powerful for a user to interact with. So if I were to go into, let's say, a self-assessment, so this would be called a landing page, familiarly with any other, things that you create. You can then just add in. I had so much fun designing this page. I know it looks simple, but to add a drop-down self-assessment with a calculator, I'm going to share this document with you because it took me a full day to just figure out how to add all these buttons up to create a score. So think about, ways of creating self-assessments for your users. This will be a really fun way to bring this to life. And you can even toggle back to your front page again, to the landing page, and go through, another tool. So how to use the big rocks, go next, typable form format, adding in. So in my initial draft, this is my other version, but I had buttons here that you can toggle and you can interact with the this quadrant here to see what's urgent, what's important.
Okay.
But again, adding some simple things in there as well. So this was a really simple interactive guide that I created, but the sales guys loved it. It was so easy to navigate. They could just toggle through when they needed to whilst they're on the phone or mapping some things out with their clients. But just all of the graphics are actually vectors that you can copy and paste in on InDesign.
Yep.
So that was a really fun, neat trick that you could use, is just toggle between all of your graphics within Illustrator to just paste it directly into your InDesign file and then create hover effects. Yeah.
I mean, it's great. I mean, if I was kind of looking at this and you hadn't told me it was a PDF, you know, I would have thought it would have just been like a storyline file or something like that. So, you know, so I think it's so great as far as being, you know, not needing to be hosted anywhere. It can be just files that can quickly be accessed by the sales team and just completed. You know, it looks great. Not anything like a PDF.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, and I think when you have the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite under your belt, I think the opportunities to create whatever you want is quite easier, I think, in terms of the workflow. And there's so much potential, you know, instead of using white space, you can add a beautiful graphic in the background and add over your buttons, and it will just look seamless, even though it's little small hover effects to add over it.
And what was your process? So you did this in InDesign first, and then you brought it into Adobe Professional to...
Yeah, I don't have the working file. It's on my other laptop. But
that's cool.
I do have something I prepared earlier.
This looks familiar.
This looks familiar. So this was an example on the show. Just a little InDesign file that I created and exported out into an interactive PDF. But for every single section that you have where you want to create an interactive button, all you have to do is right-click, interactive, convert to button. Yeah.
Ooh.
And now this is the function where I'd love you guys to play around and send me, you know, screenshots or even a link to whatever you want to create in InDesign. But it's all about the rollover and the normal buttons. So here you can directly, you know, change the color of your, let's not do yellow because that's not very accessibly friendly. Maybe some random green. But here you go. So when you group your vector icons together in the lines, you can just change the color immediately. And as the user rollovers, they can change the color. So I always do my hover interactions in InDesign, and then I convert it into a PDF. And whilst I'm inside your Adobe Acrobat Pro DC, that's where I add in all of like the boxes. So all the boxes that you have here, I just lay that over in an edit form or convert to a fillable, signable page and just add in your box over text. Because here you can style your fonts and you can style your multi-scrolls, your font size, and it's just easier that way. Yeah.
That looks great.
Yeah, I find that when you add in your fillable text forms inside InDesign, it takes a while and it's quite fiddly, so I just make it easy. I only add in the complex hover interactions or links, and then I do everything else at the end in Acrobat DC. Yeah.
Cool. We've got Ashanti saying that looks so neat. Emma Paulson's here saying, hey, Cath and Amanda.
Hello.
And Emma said, do the learners need a certain Adobe PDF reader to complete the doc?
No,
tell us about that.
No. So that is a really, really good question. At Lend-Lease, I love you guys, but we actually, the audience and our team members use a really old version of Adobe Reader and Preview.
Reader,
yeah. So, and it works perfectly fine. Because they're quite simple interactions. We're not exporting this into a web web-based view. So there's another cool hack within InDesign, which I'll probably show you guys another time because I haven't set up my InDesign properly yet, but you can export your document into an online web-based view. So you can share a link to someone to interact with your PDF and have, you know, your typical magazine swipe effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually add that into your InDesign documents and house that online on your Adobe Creative Cloud Suite account. Yeah, so that's a really cool thing too, but I'll take you guys, where is it? Oh, yeah, I have to set up my InDesign. I haven't set it up for that effect yet, but yeah.
That's okay. We've got Shirlene saying hello, and also Tracy Parrish has said, this is really interesting. I'm sorry I came late. I have to get ready for work.
Oh no.
She says, can I see this later somehow? Of course you can, Tracy. It will be on YouTube. So just come back and watch it later on. Yeah. Good to see you, Tracy. Cool. So you got some different ways of publishing this out. And what else can you do with it? This looks nice. I like the color scheme.
So this one's a fun one. We converted a mentoring policy and I converted that into a guide for our users. So this is a multi-purpose guide for both our mentors and our mentees. Navigation, I put it right down at the bottom. So this is what it looks like. Oh, it's a bit glitchy. Whoop, my bad. There you go. Yeah, so again, I like to create landing pages for my interactive PDFs and just to allow a way for our users to navigate back to the main page. But for here, again, this is quite text heavy, but it's quite a robust process for our graduates globally at Lendlease. So, you know, it's a moment of reflection for them to type out certain things that resonates with them. You know, you can add some key questions. I did this in InDesign and then I converted, I only added the buttons and the hover effects and all the other pieces, again, I just added them last right at the end. And it's just easier because you get to style your fonts and your text. Ugh, what happened there? Yeah. So this was a fun one to make. Again, you can add and copy and paste your Illustrator icons or your vectors directly into your InDesign file and it'll keep it, and it can scale quite neatly as well. So there's no image distortions or any pixelated images that go through your PDF document once you export it. Yeah.
And do you ever make something a field and bring it in later on? So if someone's pre-filled in, it kind of populates somewhere else?
Oh, I haven't tried that yet. That actually sounds really cool. No, I've only created basic interactive PDFs, Cath.
Well, you say basic, but you've done a lot, actually. I mean, you've done kind of calculations, you know, you've done this mixed build, and then, you know, you've already done a lot of advanced stuff. Like, it's great seeing the images and the hover effect, because for me, you know, if someone told me, oh, we want you to fill out a PDF, it's not often that you get to see such a nice experience as this. You know, a lot of the time the PDF's really, you know, pretty dull. So I think this looks great. I think what I've done in the past is I've brought certain fields in later on. So if it's their name that they filled out in a field, maybe the next page might say, hello, Cath, you know?
Ooh, so I'm gonna try that. That's cool.
Yeah. So you can basically bring certain fields in, or see that calculation, bring that final calculation in somewhere at the end.
So
Yep.
And I can bring that up. Okay. Right.
Yep. So if you go to edit PDF, I'm sure it's edit PDF. Okay, so that should have a field name somewhere. It's been a little while since I've done it. Where's
Look, guys, I haven't touched this document for 2 years. Bear with me.
No, that's okay. But that should have a naming convention somewhere.
Right. I think it's in whatchamacallit? Nope. I forgot. My brain farted. Sorry, guys.
Nah, it's all good. Just trying to think under that object.
There's a whole panel down here where you can see your naming convention for each of your fillable boxes. Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
Is it?
Can't find it.
Is it? Is it under the span? Yeah.
Prepare form. Here you go. Got it. So if I were to go back, how do I go back? Prepare form. Here you go. There you go.
Yeah. So what's the name of that? Total.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could copy that total and place it on another page.
Oh,
so
got you.
You literally just copy it. And let's say you just put it on another page and just go and test it. If you've completed that activity, it should come through. Yeah, if you just pop it there, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, okay, I see. So I could technically put, hey, Amanda, or hey, insert name, and then Amanda.
Yep. What's your name, Amanda? Yeah, CD23.
What?
So
guys,
if you did.
Yes. Sorry.
So it's a bit like, you know, if you think about Storyline or some of these authoring tools that you can use variables, you know, it's a bit like that, but it can be very powerful, you know, especially if you ask them a question about what department are you in, and so even that drop down should have a variable on it that you should be able to, you know, if it was a drop down and that variable changed to, you know, the sales team, well, you should be able to bring things like that through.
Yeah.
It's powerful in that way. In fact, there's a really great little designer. I'm saying little designer, that sounds so patronizing. There's a great designer on YouTube called Tila Cunningham, I think, and she does like Procreate tutorials every Tuesday. Something like Tila on Tuesday or something like that. Yeah. And she did a really lovely certificate. She was talking about pre-selling templates of things like a wedding invite, that all someone needs to do is you sell it. It's a fillable PDF, and then all they need to do is put the names in of people. So it could be an invite for Cath and Janine for a wedding, and you can just type it in, or it might be the actual invitation for the wedding. So yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful. How have you gone with things like videos? Have you tried to embed anything like a video in there?
So I should have prepared more for this live session.
No, it's great. This is just a conversation, because I love what you've done.
I'm going to share probably with you, and you can distribute it later, but a link that I was, there's this guy on YouTube, when I was going through a rabbit hole of trying to figure out and decipher bloody interactive PDFs and how to make it look amazeballs. But he used the ePublish component of InDesign, which is something that I was speaking about earlier, where you can host the online, web-based interactive guide. You can embed your videos, and there's animations in your guide as well. I'm going to share with you. I think he designed this YouTube page in like 2016 or something. So these interactive and ePublish InDesign's components have been around for so long, but I only just recently got into it. So I'm a bit of an old soul, but I'd love to see
it's great
as well, because I think there's so many ways that we can break PDF for the good, to enhance someone's learning journey. But no, I'm actually quite curious to see what other people have created in PDF or using InDesign or Illustrator or any other tools to come up with a cool PDF.
Yeah, and I think back in the day, I just used to design. Oh, I was trying to copy what Jason Renshaw was doing. I'll see if I can find it actually, but I just used PowerPoint. And this is old, right? So, but it really, really taught me a lot. I don't know if it's going to come up, but let's just see.
I'm going to find this dude, guys. I'm going to find this dude that I was stalking on YouTube.
I really loved what he was doing. So let's see. It was a TAFE called the Gordon, which is in Geelong. And of course, I can't find it now. How are you guys doing with PDFs? Are you using PDFs yourself? So Tracy said, this is great. Now I need to find more time to play with this.
Yeah,
and Charlene said, love your storyboard, Amanda. And she said, that's really cool with the hover effect. Oh, what are you two like? So have you found it? Did you manage to find it?
Nope, not yet. 1 second.
Okay.
Keep talking. Ask the questions, guys. Any questions?
So yeah, any questions, guys? Throw them over. I mean, I certainly think that these kind of things would be phenomenal to see a lot more interactivity in things like a campus guide, you know, a PDF. You download something that's preparing you for maybe a university course or even a school, you know, for parents to complete. I think the only downside, and this was something that I talked to you about in the show, is its lack of responsiveness, you know?
Yeah.
Which is the only downside. But I think that once things are designed for desktops, you know, you can do loads. I'll look at Charlene. She's like, lots of kisses. So you've done a number of these tools. Those were for sales. One was for mentoring. Have you done any other ones?
What else did I do? No. So the only ones that I've done would be, I did another toolkit for the leadership team as well. And what else did I do? So the only reason or when I would use InDesign to create an interactive PDF would be when it's a practical something, might be a practical guide or a tool for someone to just pick up and go away with. So usually if I were to do a bite-sized e-learning piece and, you know, you go through all this content, blah, 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 hey, at the end, here's a toolkit for you. They can download that and that's their takeaway. That's where I see it using quite well. I wouldn't just go out and create an interactive PDF for the sake of it, unless you want to play around with it and have a little side project. That's great. But I would only use it for practical applications because I think that's where people would generally use a PDF. The amount of times that I've downloaded, you know, amazing, you know, white papers or just any PDF docs that are 100 pages long, I just save it and leave it there. I don't even touch it unless it's something that I use. I would then open it and, you know, maybe add my notes in, add my reflections or my thoughts in there as well. So, yeah, something to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You found it. Go ahead, show us.
I found him, guys. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Share. Oh, I think it's going to go into Inception mode soon. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. All right.
Oh, yeah, I know this guy. Yeah.
So this guy, this was probably the first thing that I searched when I was looking on how to create an interactive interactive guide, but there's this section here. I just want to show you. I'll show you the output of what it looks like, and you can take your time in, where is that? I think it was this one. Okay. Nope. I want to play, I really want to open and show you guys the end product, but I can't. Where is it? I really want to find the final thing that he created.
Yeah, toggle thumbnails. There we go. Or toggle them to the bottom, toggle them to the top. But if I'm going to have them anywhere, I'd rather have them on the bottom. All right, so let's.
Oh, here you go. Look at this. Animations.
Just kind of animations fading into the document.
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
The video for this particular page.
Yep.
And again, just that scrolling panorama.
It's just little things, but you can create this.
This one's got something interesting. Notice how that mountain on the left-hand side is blinking. That's kind of giving you an indicator of something's going on there. Maybe I should put my mouse over and see what happens. Yay! There we go. So that's a kind of a scrolling bar that pops, and all that is a bar at the bottom of the document page that when you click the button, it scrolls it up. Click the button again, it scrolls it.
Yeah, so there's lots of potential that you can create within InDesign when you publish it, e-publish. It's called an EPUB. But as a user, you can scroll through just like a magazine, like a digital magazine. So it's something that you can do for, let's say, internal comms, monthly newsletter or quarterly newsletter for your department or a specific department that you're helping out with if you're developing a new solution for them. So this is where I would see this being used. When I was at Uniting, probably in 2016, I used InDesign and I e-published their yearly calendar.
Yep.
Training calendar. Probably not the best approach, but it was a great way for me to experience this. I've added in some really nice animations in that document as well. And a lot of navigation. So as a user, I could navigate to certain sections of the document with ease, as opposed to sitting there and just scrolling through a normal PDF. So this is quite cool. Have a check out of this, guys, just for the web. And it's all embedded inside your InDesign. You just have to export it.
If we can find it, we'll share it.
Yeah,
I'll put it in the comments below.
Yeah, I'll find
That's really great.
Stop sharing. Sorry, there you go.
That's all right. I found Jason's stuff. This is really old. He'd probably be absolutely mortified with me sharing this, but this was actually what got me kind of really excited about interactive PDFs. And I'll just share this. This is more curriculum, and I could see something like this being great, especially if you consider what's happening right now with kids at school. Okay, so might be a student has done, so this is a little activity on environmentally sustainable work practices. So he's done a tutorial to show how to build it. He's built it in PowerPoint, right? And he's essentially just going through here. Let's see how you can fill it out. Okay, so he's got links in here, right? See how he's got the name and the date. So the idea is that the student would fill this in, and of course it's quite aesthetically pleasing. It's even got a video here that the student can click. It'll go to YouTube, so it will go out of the system, but they can watch a video on a topic, and then they can basically fill this PDF in. And then if they're using a learning management system that's got like an assessment tool, they can save it and then they can upload it. But when because I tried to make these years ago, there's a bit of an art, or there was at the time, on how to save it with the content still in it, rather than saving it and having it go back to its static you know, status, you know.
Mhm.
So we've got Thomas who's saying PDFs often get a bad press in terms of accessibility, screen readers, responsiveness, etc. What have you done to mitigate this in the past? They are a lot more accessible though, PDFs, are they not?
Yeah, no, I think so too. Look, a lot of our users at my workplace, they predominantly use desktops. So that's why we opt for this. In an instance where they might require more mobile devices, I wouldn't recommend, to be honest, having interactive PDFs. I'll probably recommend a static PDF with just clean visuals and maybe some nice, cleanly aligned paragraphs of text. Similar to how we read any articles online when we download their PDF anyway, we'll be, expanding and pinching and sliding the pages open. So interactive PDFs wouldn't be a great deal for mobile responsiveness. I would recommend something static, so like a print version. So maybe it's about letting your users know, hey, if you want to open this up on mobile, download this version. If you're using a desktop, download this version. That's what I would approach it by. Good question, Tom.
This is where this falls down, right? See how it's got the scrolling bar?
Yeah.
So I think these are great if there's not a lot of content, but you can't print it out. So when it's got this scrolling bar, once it goes past this, you can't print it out anymore. But I think it's good if you've just got little bits of information that need to be filled in. Things like this can work really well. And this was just another one that
paper, guys, no more printing. So many trees are done. Don't need to print.
I know. But this was just a different layout. So what's he saying here? Look at the picture on the left. What do you think the video might be about?
Cath, if I saw this 5 years ago, I would be like, yes, this is so cool.
Yeah. So this was 2012 that he did this. It was a long time ago. But I just loved it. And obviously, you know, he's got little icons here showing he's got videos. So the students can go and they can learn about these different topics. And I think what was really interesting about this TAFE was that the students were they were older. Well, obviously at TAFE, but I think that they were. I forget about the Australian system, to be honest, the education system. So I think they were maybe between 16 and 18. Does that make sense? They'd gone down a technical route rather than, so it was trying to build something that was quite engaging for them. So this was, I mean, this is very old, but honestly, if you start looking on YouTube at some different people's resources, your mind starts racing with the amount of potential that there is. And I think there was certainly tutorials on this, on how to build them, and I found it incredibly helpful. So so that was one of the things that I certainly was very interested in. Now we've got a comment from Tracy. I always make stuff in Word and then save to PDF. This opens the door to so much more. Absolutely, right? And that's what Amanda's saying. It doesn't. The sky's the limit with what you can build it in, and then the interactivity happens at a later stage in Adobe Professional. And do you want to elaborate what you said to me before about there's tricks around if you don't have?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So graphic design is your best friend. You can make any document look pretty with just some added little graphical design elements. So let's say I sometimes am quite lazy in InDesign. It is quite technical and you have to have patience. And if you love it, you're in it. If you don't, But my tool of choice is Illustrator. So I sometimes mock up, what I want on a page, have those boxes there ready to go in Illustrator in an A4 page. And then I just export that, save that to PDF, and I do all of my interactions inside Professional. You can do it quite similar in Word doc as well, Tracy. I think it's fine. But have a play in Illustrator. I think it'll blow your mind to see what you can do and create with different images and visuals, and lay that in there. I draw all my inspiration when it comes to interactive PDFs on Pinterest. I know a lot of people in the e-learning community love Pinterest. I love it too. But I actually search up magazine spreads, bold magazine spreads, illustrative magazine spreads. I think when you create like any PDF styles or any styles, it's quite similar to a magazine anyway. And that just brings so much inspiration for me to create a nice spread for our learners. But have a crack at that. Type in any kind of magazine spread within Pinterest and the world's your oyster. You can create whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great advice. That's great advice. We've got quite a few people watching, but not a lot of people are saying anything. How are you guys? How's your journey been with interactive PDFs? Have you tried it? Is it something you want to try? I see my tool of choice is actually Adobe XD. And I live in Creative Cloud most of the day, which is really interesting. And as far as being an e-learning designer, because I do the end-to-end development. I'm in it now and I love it. But XD is incredibly powerful as well and can be quite easy for you to get your head around quite quick. Right. And Tracy's saying, as you can tell, I'm going to be late for work. Oh, don't blame us, Tracy. Okay. And she said, thanks very much for this learning. No worries.
No worries.
And Ashanti's saying, I definitely want to try. So Ashanti, what do you want to try it for? Is there any particular project that you can see this working quite well? Is anyone out there got any ideas of how they may use it? Emma Pawson, come and give me your feedback. Tom, so you've done a number of different sales tools, and what's your process of rolling it out? How do you do it? Where do you host it? Yeah. And tell me about that at Lend-Lease.
So usually with any tool that we roll out, I always create a small bite-sized e-learning piece to partner it up with the tool. And it's usually a short RISE course. So for example, with the sales piece that I did with the 5 days compressed into a short bite-sized e-learning piece plus this interactive guide. What I did was talk to a lot of the sales managers to just get some key examples and tips that they personally have when it comes to time management. And I created an animated character of their face in After Effects and just exported that into a little GIF. And next to it, I just had, a timeline of their day and what does a day in the life of Ted look like? Blah, 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 blah. And that just really drew a nice picture for new sales managers coming on board or new customer service experience reps coming in on board to the team to see what a day in the life of these, amazing peers of theirs do on a day-to-day basis and what kind of, and the tools as well and how they use the tools. And then at the end of the small bite-sized e-learning, at the end, they could download the tool and have an experiment with it as well. Part of this, they then would go into a coaching session with their team to just share and interact and their thoughts. So it was a blended solution. It was fun. That's how we rolled it out. We took them through a journey of, here's some context through a short e-learning piece and how you could use the tool. Now go and have a play and then come back and we'll discuss it and share your thoughts and ideas. How I hosted the PDF, there's a little hack on Rise that I do. I never just upload the PDF as the button. I know it's quite ugly on InDesign, on Articulate Rise. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but when you upload or add that normal static attach PDF button, there's this bloody block there. So what I do is I upload it and then I copy the URL and I paste it into a nice cute little button on the side, the stacked buttons.
That's good.
Works for me. It's less clunky and it's easier. So there's a nice left-hand side paragraph of what the document is and the cute little stacked button there that they can click and launch and download the PDF. Yeah.
Cool. And what about, do you ever pull the data out from the PDFs? Have you ever gone down that route where you're kind of going, yeah, so you can basically, so there's different things that you can do. You can email a PDF to yourself, or you can send, you know, so you can save it, you can email it. But there is also a way that you can pull data into, like you can pull data out of it into.
No, how I'm quite interested. Isn't it its own individual asset that's not linked in any way, unless you force a script for the user to submit?
So if I go to PDF to Google Sheets, I'm pretty sure that you can pull out information.
That would require someone to submit the information though, right? So we'll have and submit, and the JavaScript will go straight into a doc. Okay,
yeah. And I'm thinking Google Sheets, because I'm thinking PDFs from spreadsheet data and Google. So that's creating a PDF. How to convert? I've gone down this route of looking at this. How to print Google Sheet.
I'm interested.
Pull data from PDF to Google Sheet. Let's see. Copy standards from a PDF into a Google Sheet. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, you know what? What I'd certainly say is the sky's the limit, right? I mean, if you look at what Troy Ashman, you know, Troy was doing in one of the show, and remember the one that I was scratching my head going, how did he do that? He's populated a storyline file from a Google Sheet.
Yeah, he did. It was he embedded a chatbot inside Storyline, and I remember when he sent me the submission, I was like, how did he even come with this stuff? I'm thinking on 2020, his brain is on like 2030, like 3,000
2050.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but so that was really clever.
You know, I mean, look, I've built little things like you've completed an activity and it goes out to a Google Sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm positive, let's see if someone's answered this question actually. Tom, what's he saying? One good use we recently launched was a set of toolboxes for new team leaders, running meetings, team huddles. I thought that was team cuddles for a minute, Tom. And I was like, team cuddles. Review coaching sessions. Yeah. Lots of self-assessment and reflective activities.
Love that.
Absolutely. And Ashanti said, new hire onboarding guides checklist. And Tom says, we create them in InDesign and Adobe Illustrator. The biggest challenge we face is getting clients to get excited about PDFs. When there are so many shiny new toys people think they need. Yeah, I know.
So this is a nightmare. I love what you're saying, Tom, because I shut down the amount of people that I shut down at work. Sorry, team. I love you guys. I really do. But when someone drops a bomb of, ooh, let's create a chatbot. Ooh, let's create this. I'm like, no, solve the problem first. Go down to the why. Why do you need it? And if the solution is a practical toolkit on a PDF, you need to take your stakeholders on a journey to understand that this is a tool that your intended audience will use that will create impact and kick some goals when it comes to performance goals, or if they need to action something. It is what it is. You know, you can create, oh, okay, let's have a chatbot. But if it's no one uses it, someone in the back end needs to sit there continually adding in information and data. What's the time on investment? You know, return on investment and time on investment. That's something that's so important for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's very powerful as well that you can, you know, it's searchable because it's PDF and just so much.
Hi, Nyla.
Oh, Nyla Spooner. Oh, let's just do the hail to the Nyla Spooner. Yeah, we're not worthy. Yay, we're so excited you're here. Tom said the Adobe Experience Cloud can take data from interactive PDFs, and no team cuddles are a big HR issue.
Team cuddles around.
I'm very upset about this because I like cuddles, but social distancing and everything. And Ashanti's laughing at him. See, now Nyla's stopped interacting with us. She's just, you know, she's so she's in and she's out. So too funny. Yeah, I think that it's something that I want to look more into. I certainly, I think that's another one that we can definitely get Troy on to talk a little bit about, you know, how did he do that interaction? So basically what we're talking about, guys, is Troy built a storyline module, and this is going to blow your mind, right? Instead of having content going out to a PDF, it actually curated the content from, it was actually a Google Sheet. And I was so confused. I was like, what is going on? You know, but it's honestly, it should be the same for PDF. So we'll look into it. What other things do you think you can use these for?
I've seen a couple of creative design agencies develop interactive infographics using PDFs, and it was just a really long PDF, one page, and it all blended together with different points and anchors on the page where you would click and interact this box. Oh, why did you do that? And it'll go into different sections. And it was quite illustrative. I'm a sucker for illustrations, so it was just so beautiful. And I didn't care about the content. I was just playing with the buttons. I was like, what? I'll find that and I'll probably send it to you guys too. But little things like that, you'll notice quite a bit. A lot of marketing agencies or creative design agencies send out a lot of PDFs that are quite interactive. If you ever take note, or a spam, I get a lot of spam. So I'm always clicking through and seeing if they have a good PDF, then they're a good agency, which I will have a look around. But,
there certainly has been some great ones on LinkedIn showing animations on them, and you know, I think there was one with like a bumblebee. It would be the equivalent of like a lot. Well, it's probably just a GIF, an animated GIF. But I mean, now with Lotties as well, I think that's a bit of a game changer because these things are so light, you know. So. Well, I think this has been very insightful. Nyla Spooner's not coming back, which makes me a bit upset. We probably embarrassed her. However, guys, if you have got any questions, if you want to know any more, we can certainly get this troublemaker, Amanda, back to talk a little bit more. I mean, this has been very helpful. I love seeing how you've implemented that into Lendlease. And I think within any organization, you're right, you know, it doesn't need to be an overly complicated solution. As long as it's giving the user a tool that they can use straight away, then that's the most important thing. And I think it's very, very very aesthetically pleasing. I wouldn't have even, if you did not tell me that was a PDF, I wouldn't have known. So looks great, mate. Looks really great.
Thank you.
Last words from you on interactive PDFs?
Go and create some crazy things, guys. I want to see it. I want you to break PDF in a good way, not a bad way, because I'm always open to learning new things and ways we can hack PDF. So share it with me, tag me on LinkedIn. I want to see your amazing creations. Yeah, that's it.
And I'll put a link below with some examples of ones that we maybe didn't show you today, or ones that we did show you today. We'll put the links below so you can have a little nosy. If you've got any further questions, put them in the comments below. The wonderful Amanda, her details are below as well. You can check out her phenomenal website, and her you can get in contact with her via LinkedIn. But thank you very much, everyone, for jumping in, and thank you very much for your time, Amanda.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Fangirl. Bye.
Yeah.